Everyone wants success, but when the alarm rings at 5 a.m., success hides under the blanket with them. You see, success doesn't run away from us. We walk away from it every time we choose comfort over discipline. Discipline begins where motivation dies. Everyone feels inspired after watching a great video, hearing a success story, or reading a quote. But what happens the next morning when the alarm rings? What happens when the excitement fades and the only thing left is the reality of hard work? That is the moment that separates the average from the exceptional. Discipline means showing up when your mood says no. It's doing the hard things not because you want to, but because you promised yourself you would. Anyone can work when they feel inspired, but true discipline is tested in those silent moments when no one is watching, and the only voice you hear is the one whispering, "Rest a little more." Those who ignore that voice and act anyway, they are the ones who write their names in history. You see, success is not about luck, it's about consistency. And consistency cannot exist without discipline. The people who achieve extraordinary results are not always the most talented or the most intelligent. They are the most disciplined. They do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. It doesn't matter if they're tired, uninspired, or facing obstacles. They still act. They still move forward. That's the power of discipline. It's not glamorous. It doesn't always feel good, but it works every single time. When you stop waiting for the perfect mood and start acting in the imperfect moment, your discipline begins to build momentum, and momentum builds success. Every dream looks easy from a distance. Everyone wants the result, but very few are ready for the routine. It's easy to want the trophy, but discipline is waking up early to practice when everyone else is sleeping. It's studying when your friends are scrolling through social media. It's saying no to comfort so that your future self can live in freedom. Discipline means doing the uncomfortable today so you can enjoy the comfortable tomorrow. It is not punishment. It is preparation. Those who misunderstand this often chase motivation, thinking that they need to feel right before they act. But that's not how success works. You don't act because you feel good, you act, and then you feel good because you acted. Think about it. Every successful person you've ever admired didn't reach their goals because they always felt inspired. They reached them because they had discipline. They trained their mind to obey their purpose, not their emotions. When you act only when you feel like it, your emotions control your life. But when you act based on discipline, you control your emotions. That's the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. The ordinary person says, "I'll do it tomorrow." The disciplined person says, "I'll do it now, no matter what." And in that decision lies their destiny. One day of discipline may look small, but 1,000 disciplined days create miracles. Discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you build. Every small act of self-control strengthens your mental muscle. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes to make the right choices. The first time you resist laziness, it's hard. The second time, it's still hard. But over time, your mind learns that you are serious about your goals. You begin to trust yourself. You start keeping promises you make to yourself. And once that self-trust develops, discipline turns into a lifestyle. You no longer rely on motivation, you rely on identity. You don't need anyone to remind you because it becomes who you are. A disciplined, consistent, and focused individual. And here's the truth. The most powerful people in the world aren't the ones who always feel ready. They're the ones who act even when they're not. They work when they're tired. They plan when they're uncertain. They move forward when the path isn't clear because they know that waiting for the perfect moment is just another form of procrastination. Discipline doesn't wait for perfect timing. It creates it. Every time you take disciplined action, you gain clarity. Every time you push through your laziness, you get closer to your goal. Discipline turns confusion into direction and direction into destiny. That's why it said, success doesn't require brilliance. It requires obedience to your own purpose. Discipline is that obedience in action. So when you wake up tomorrow and feel that pull to stay comfortable, remind yourself this is the moment where winners are made. This is where success begins. Not in the big speeches, not in the celebrations, but in those quiet decisions you make every single day. Discipline means choosing progress over pleasure, purpose over comfort, consistency over convenience. It's a lifelong commitment to do what must be done, not what feels good to do. Because when you master that, when you can move even when your emotions say stop, you become unstoppable. That's the secret behind every story of greatness, the ability to act even when you don't feel like it. Discipline doesn't arrive overnight. It doesn't appear magically when you feel motivated, and it isn't built by grand gestures or rare moments of inspiration. True discipline is forged quietly, day by day, through small habits that seem insignificant at first. Waking up at the same time every morning, making your bed, reading a few pages of a book, or writing down your priorities. These tiny actions may feel almost invisible in the moment, but they accumulate into an unstoppable force over time. Success is rarely about one big decision. It is the result of countless small decisions made consistently, repeated again and again, until they become a lifestyle. Consider the power of consistency. 1 page a day doesn't seem like much, but over a year, it becomes hundreds of pages of knowledge gained. One early morning workout might feel like a drop in the ocean, yet over months, it transforms your body, your mind, and your confidence. These daily choices are the scaffolding of your life. They are what build the bridge between where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow. Discipline grows when habits are repeated, not because you are motivated, but because you have made a commitment to yourself. This is the difference between ordinary people who wait for luck and extraordinary people who create their own destiny. Small daily habits also remove the need for constant motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like waves on the shore. If you rely on it, you will rise and fall with it. Habits, on the other hand, are like anchors. When discipline is built through habits, you no longer need to depend on emotional highs to take action. Brushing your teeth is automatic. Drinking water is automatic. You do them without thinking. That same principle applies to the habits that shape your success. When you discipline yourself to follow routines, to study, to practice, to invest in yourself, those actions become automatic. They don't require a push, they require commitment. The real power of small habits is in compounding. Just as money grows through compound interest, your life grows through the compound effect of small, positive actions. One day of effort may feel meaningless, but repeated over months and years, it multiplies. Reading 10 pages daily turns into thousands of pages read. Saving a small amount of money daily grows into a financial safety net. Practicing your craft for 30 minutes each day eventually turns you into an expert in your field. Discipline is built quietly in the background, not through dramatic leaps, but through steady, incremental improvement. This is why those who embrace small daily actions always outperform those waiting for luck or inspiration. Habits also shape identity. The more consistently you act in alignment with your goals, the more you begin to see yourself differently. You no longer think, I will try to be disciplined, because discipline becomes part of who you are. Small, consistent actions create a sense of self-trust, the confidence that you can rely on yourself no matter what. This is crucial because success is not only about what you do, but about who you believe you are. When your identity aligns with your habits, you no longer have to fight yourself. You no longer negotiate with laziness. You simply act because it is who you are. Moreover, small daily habits prepare you for challenges. Life is unpredictable, and extraordinary success requires resilience. When you have trained yourself through discipline in small things, you develop mental strength to face bigger challenges. A person who consistently wakes up early, studies, and works hard develops patience, focus, and endurance. When an unexpected obstacle arises, these habits act as a foundation. You respond with clarity, persistence, and confidence rather than panic or avoidance. Discipline, cultivated daily, is your silent superpower, equipping you for the battles you cannot foresee. Finally, the beauty of small daily habits is that they create momentum. Momentum is the invisible force that carries you forward when motivation fails. Each small win, each completed task, each disciplined choice adds energy to your life. And as momentum grows, so does your ability to tackle more significant challenges. One small habit leads to another and another, until your life begins to transform almost effortlessly. People look at extraordinary success and assume it is sudden, but in reality, it is the sum of countless tiny, disciplined choices compounded over time. The path to unshakable discipline is not about heroic efforts. It is about relentless, small, daily actions that become unstoppable over the long run. At first glance, discipline may appear restrictive. People often think that being disciplined means saying no to pleasure, fun, and comfort, that it chains you to routines, obligations, and strict schedules. But the truth is the exact opposite. Discipline is the key to true freedom. Without discipline, your life is dictated by your emotions, circumstances, and whims. You chase what feels good in the moment and avoid what feels hard. You may think you are free, but in reality, you are a slave to your desires and distractions. Discipline is what allows you to rise above those impulses and take control of your life. It frees you to create your own path rather than letting life push you wherever it wants. Discipline gives you the freedom of time. The person who consistently plans, prioritizes, and acts today gains control over tomorrow. They do not wait for opportunities to appear, they create them. By mastering their habits, they make each day productive and focused, avoiding the chaos that comes from procrastination and indecision. The freedom to pursue your dreams comes not from luck, inheritance, or chance, but from consistent, disciplined effort. Every minute spent wisely is an investment in autonomy. Those who lack discipline spend their lives reacting to crises and distractions, while the disciplined person shapes their schedule, work, and goals to align with their vision. Financial freedom is another reward of discipline. Saving, investing, and working with purpose require restraint and planning, yet these acts of self-control lead to independence. The person who spends mindlessly may enjoy fleeting pleasures, but is always vulnerable to uncertainty. In contrast, discipline allows you to control your resources, make informed decisions, and reduce dependence on others. Freedom in money, time, and opportunity all stem from the same source: disciplined choices repeated consistently. Discipline is not a limit. It is the pathway to control over every aspect of life that most people surrender without realizing. Discipline also creates emotional freedom. A mind trained through structure and habits resists the tyranny of short-term impulses. When you have practiced discipline in small daily actions, you are no longer swayed by fear, doubt, or temporary setbacks. You respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. You act with purpose instead of drifting aimlessly. Emotional freedom is one of the most underrated forms of liberty because it allows you to make rational decisions, stay calm under pressure, and focus on what truly matters. The more disciplined you are, the less you are enslaved by temporary moods or fleeting desires. Moreover, discipline frees your potential. Many people are capable of extraordinary things, yet they are trapped by procrastination, distraction, and laziness. Talent alone cannot break those chains. Only discipline can. When you structure your life, set routines, and stick to them, you unlock the time, energy, and focus required to pursue your full potential. The disciplined person can learn faster, work harder, and innovate consistently, while others remain stuck wishing for luck or waiting for external motivation. Freedom is not given. It is earned through the disciplined mastery of self, actions, and habits. Finally, the paradox of discipline is that it allows you to live life on your own terms. At first, it may feel restrictive, uncomfortable, or even boring. But over time, discipline builds strength, control, and momentum. You are no longer waiting for permission or circumstances to align. You decide the direction of your life. You no longer live in fear of uncertainty because your consistent actions prepare you for any challenge. Discipline is not the opposite of freedom. It is freedom itself, the freedom to create, achieve, and live purposefully. Those who understand this secret discover that life expands, opportunities multiply, and limits vanish, all because they embrace the daily practice of disciplined action. Discipline is not easy. In fact, the journey towards success is often filled with discomfort, struggle, and sacrifice. Many people run from pain, thinking it is a signal to stop. But here's the truth: pain is not the enemy, laziness is. Every time you face challenges, endure setbacks, or push through exhaustion, you are exercising the muscle of discipline. The act of doing what must be done, even when it hurts, transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary strength. Pain becomes a teacher, and discipline is the tool that turns its lessons into power. Those who embrace this process don't just survive hardships, they convert them into stepping stones for greatness. Every time you resist the temptation to quit, you build resilience. a small act of discipline in a difficult moment may seem insignificant, yet it compounds into remarkable strength over time. The student who studies when their friends are out partying, the entrepreneur who works late after a long day, the athlete who trains despite exhaustion. All of them are converting temporary pain into permanent power. Discipline is what transforms suffering into growth, struggle into skill, and challenge into mastery. The more you endure with focus and purpose, the more capable and powerful you become. Pain without discipline is wasted energy. Many people complain, struggle, and feel overwhelmed, yet achieve nothing because they do not channel their pain toward action. Discipline gives pain a direction. It focuses your energy, strengthens your will, and converts adversity into progress. It turns the discomfort of waking early, studying, or practicing into the satisfaction of accomplishment. Life will always present hardships, but those who practice discipline know that pain is not an obstacle. It is fuel. The more you learn to act despite discomfort, the more unstoppable you become. Discipline also strengthens your mindset. When you consistently act through difficulties, your mind learns that challenges are temporary and conquerable. You stop fearing failure because you have trained yourself to endure setbacks and keep moving forward. Pain becomes a test and discipline becomes the answer. Those who lack discipline crumble under pressure, letting obstacles define their limits. Those who embrace discipline thrive under pressure, turning every difficulty into a lesson and every failure into momentum. The strongest individuals are not those who avoid pain, but those who have learned to transform it into power. Moreover, discipline teaches patience. True success does not happen overnight. The pain of early mornings, long hours, and sacrifices may seem endless, but each disciplined action accumulates like interest in a bank account. What feels like suffering today is investment in your future. The more patient and disciplined you are in enduring discomfort now, the more reward you reap later. Pain, when guided by discipline, becomes a stepping stone towards skill, wisdom, and achievement. Those who understand this principle approach life with courage, knowing that their disciplined efforts today will define their power tomorrow. Finally, the secret of discipline is that it converts limits into liberation. Every challenge you face, every moment of discomfort you endure, every time you resist quitting, strengthens your capacity for greatness. Pain becomes not a burden, but a resource. Discipline is the alchemy that transforms the ordinary struggles of life into extraordinary strength, focus, and resilience. Those who master this truth are unstoppable because they have learned to harness pain as fuel, turning every difficulty into a weapon for success. In this way, discipline is not just about control or habit. It is the force that turns life's hardest moments into your most powerful opportunities. Discipline is not just about action, it is about reliability. Every time you follow through on what you say you will do, you are building trust, starting with yourself. Many people underestimate the importance of this trust. If you cannot rely on yourself, how can you expect anyone else to? Your words, promises, and intentions only have weight when backed by consistent action. Discipline is the bridge between intention and reality, and by crossing that bridge daily, you prove to yourself that you are someone worth trusting. Self-trust is the foundation of confidence, courage, and meaningful achievement. When you cultivate discipline, you create a track record of consistency. Showing up every day, completing your tasks, and meeting your commitments establishes a pattern that your mind and others recognize. Over time, this pattern becomes a reputation, not just externally, but internally. You begin to believe in your own abilities, in your own word, and in your own potential. This self-confidence is irreplaceable because it comes from proof, not hope. When others see that you are reliable and consistent, they naturally place trust in you. Discipline is the silent language that communicates, I am serious about my work, my goals, and my promises. To consider relationships, business, and leadership. Success in any of these areas depends heavily on trust. People follow, support, and invest in those they know are dependable. Without discipline, promises are broken, plans fail, and credibility crumbles. But a disciplined person stands out. They meet deadlines, honor commitments, and maintain integrity even when it is inconvenient or difficult. Trust earned through discipline is far more valuable than talent alone. People remember those who act with reliability, because reliability creates predictability, stability, and confidence. qualities that attract opportunities and partnerships naturally. Discipline also strengthens your internal character. By consistently keeping promises to yourself, you reinforce the idea that you are someone who honors commitments. This is critical because life constantly tests your integrity. When challenges arise, the disciplined individual does not compromise values or cut corners. They have built an internal system of trust that guides every decision. Their consistency becomes a compass, helping them navigate complex situations without losing focus or credibility. Discipline, therefore, is not only about external success, but also about the internal development of a trustworthy and respected character. Moreover, trust built through discipline compounds over time. Just as small habits accumulate into success, small acts of reliability build immense credibility. Each time you follow through, you reinforce a cycle. The more you prove yourself, the more confident you become, and the more others believe in you. This trust opens doors that talent alone cannot open. Opportunities, mentorships, collaborations, and leadership positions naturally flow to those who have demonstrated consistent discipline. In other words, discipline creates a powerful ripple effect. Your actions build trust, trust builds relationships, and relationships amplify success. Finally, the greatest lesson of discipline is that it teaches accountability. When you commit to a task and follow through, you are accountable to yourself. When you consistently act, you are accountable to your goals, your values, and your vision. This accountability is magnetic. It attracts others, inspires teams, and builds influence. Discipline transforms reliability from a simple habit into a defining trait of your identity. The disciplined person becomes someone who can be counted on, someone who turns words into action, promises into results, and dreams into reality. Trust, in this sense, is both a reward and a tool of discipline, guiding every step on the path to success. Talent is often celebrated, admired, and envied. People look at the naturally gifted, the creative, the intelligent, and they assume success is inevitable for them. But talent alone is fragile, fleeting, and powerless without discipline. Think of a musician who never practices, an athlete who skips training, or a brilliant mind that never applies knowledge. All of them have potential, but potential without action achieves nothing. Discipline is the engine that converts talent into results. Without it, natural abilities remain dormant, wasted on excuses, distractions, or unrealized opportunities. Talent may give you a head start, but discipline carries you to the finish line. One of the most striking truths in life is that consistent effort often beats raw talent. A disciplined person with average skills can outperform a talented individual who lacks self-control. Why? Because success is rarely about a single moment of brilliance. It is the product of thousands of repeated actions, incremental improvements, and relentless persistence. Discipline ensures that talent is sharpened, nurtured, and applied consistently. Without this application, talent is like a car without fuel, beautiful, impressive, but stationary. Consider the countless examples of people who had immense talent but failed to leave a mark because they lacked the discipline to cultivate it. They dreamed, they planned, and they hoped, yet their talent alone could not carry them forward. Meanwhile, ordinary individuals who showed up day after day, worked when it was hard, and refused to quit surpassed them. Discipline turns potential into expertise. It turns ideas into inventions, skills into mastery, and opportunities into accomplishments. Without it, talent is like an unlit flame, capable of warmth and light, but ultimately useless if never ignited. Discipline also ensures growth. Talent without discipline tends to plateau. A naturally gifted person may excel for a while, but without structure, focus, and persistent effort, progress stalls. Discipline pushes you to refine your abilities, to learn continuously, and to challenge yourself even when it's uncomfortable. It prevents complacency, the silent killer of potential. When talent is paired with discipline, it becomes unstoppable. You no longer rely on innate ability alone. You create a system that multiplies your results. Every disciplined action compounds your skill, making your talent stronger, sharper, and more impactful. Furthermore, discipline transforms talent into influence. A skilled individual who does not act cannot inspire, cannot lead, and cannot create meaningful change. Discipline allows talent to reach others, to solve real problems, and to make a lasting impact. People respect results more than promises, action more than ideas. The disciplined application of talent earns credibility, builds reputation, and opens doors to opportunities that would remain closed to those who rely on ability alone. Talent is the seed, but discipline is the sunlight and water that allow it to grow into a tree bearing fruit for years. Finally, the ultimate lesson is clear. Talent may give you potential, but discipline gives you power. Without discipline, talent is wasted, fragile, and fleeting. With discipline, even modest abilities can achieve extraordinary results. Discipline is the invisible force that transforms natural gifts into measurable success. It turns promise into reality, dreams into achievements, and potential into legacy. If you truly want to make your talent matter, not just be admired or envied, you must pair it with unwavering discipline. Only then does your talent fulfill its purpose and leave a lasting mark on the world. So, what is the ultimate truth behind success? It is not talent, luck, or opportunity. It is discipline, the silent, unwavering force that shapes every achievement, every breakthrough, and every victory. Discipline is showing up when motivation disappears. It is building small habits that compound into extraordinary results. It is creating freedom through self-control, turning pain into power, earning trust, and transforming talent into impact. Discipline is the mother of success because without it, everything else, dreams, skills, ambition, remains just potential. Look around you. The world rewards those who act consistently, who refuse to quit, and who honor their word, first to themselves and then to others. The path to greatness is never glamorous. It is paved with quiet, disciplined actions taken day after day. You may not see results immediately, but every disciplined choice is a brick in the foundation of your future. Momentum grows, habits strengthen, and character solidifies. What feels hard today becomes effortless tomorrow. What feels small today becomes monumental in time. And here's the truth no one else will tell you. Discipline is freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from wasted talent and untapped potential. When you choose discipline, you take control of your life, your time, and your destiny. You no longer wait for luck, inspiration, or perfect conditions. You create your own path and walk it relentlessly. The discomfort you feel now is the power you feel later. The sacrifices you make today are the victories you celebrate tomorrow. So decide this moment that you will no longer let your dreams be bigger than your discipline. Commit to the habits, routines, and actions that shape extraordinary lives. When you do, you will discover the secret that separates the dreamers from the achievers, the ordinary from the extraordinary, and the hopeful from the unstoppable. Remember, this discipline is not just a tool, it is the foundation, the engine, and the mother of all success.